Imagine a story where the paths of a lonely tycoon and a humble young woman cross through a contract of appearances. Join me for today's story. Let's go. In a chic, bustling city, where rich people shone like gold under the chandeliers, lived Christopher Lewis. He was a great businessman, full of money and business. But despite all his wealth and success, Christopher had a sad secret. His heart was hurting because of a love he had lost. Christopher decided to follow a different path to heal the wounds of the past. With his wounded pride and desire for revenge, he came up with a very detailed plan: find a simple but charming woman and convince her to make a strange deal. What was the plan? Pretend to be his girlfriend at social events and public gatherings, all to leave his ex, Sarah, who had left him for someone else, full of envy and regret. With this plan in mind, Christopher started looking for someone to carry out the deal. He was sure that his plan would be irresistible. He decided to look in simpler places, where people didn't have as much money, because he knew that no well-off woman would accept his proposal. Among the simplest places in town, Christopher found Hilary, a young woman with a natural beauty and a kind heart. Her eyes shone with a charming innocence, and she was pure and honest, never influenced by greed or vanity. Hilary was exactly what Christopher needed for his plan, and he wasted no time in making a tempting proposal to her. After seeing Hilary walking through the aisles of a simple neighborhood grocery store, Christopher realized that she could be the ideal person to help him with his plan. He approached her and said, "Sorry to interrupt, but I've been watching you for a while and I think you're the perfect person to help me." Hilary was startled by the unexpected conversation and turned her back on him without paying much attention. Christopher realized that she was afraid to talk to him, so he showed her his business card and said, "Miss, don't be afraid of me. Look, I'm a big businessman and I won't hurt you." Christopher Lewis handed Hilary his business card and said, "Here's my card, with the address and phone number of some of my companies." Hilary, still confused about what he wanted, took the card and read the information. Then, looking at the name on the card, she said, "Well, Mr. Christopher Lewis, what do you want with my help?" He answered a little awkwardly, "I want you to be my girlfriend by contract," he replied. Christopher smiled and said, "You'll have a good financial situation, dazzling clothes, dinners in mansions, and the world at your feet. In return, all I need is your presence by my side, as part of a strictly professional agreement." Hilary, upon hearing this proposal, couldn't believe it. "I can't believe what I'm hearing. Are you kidding me? Contract dating? Please," she said, and then turned her back and walked away. Christopher followed her, trying to explain that it was no big deal. He told her that he just wanted to show off a beautiful woman to his ex-girlfriend, who had left him for someone else. When he finished speaking, Hilary saw the sadness in his eyes. Still hesitating, she thought about the unusual proposal. Accepting the proposal meant entering a world of luxury and extravagance, very different from her simple life. But, driven by a secret curiosity and the need to help her parents and younger siblings, Hilary decided to accept the challenge. Still looking at the business card and then at Christopher, she thought for a few minutes before asking, "But what will this contract be like and how long will I have to fulfill it?" He, struck by how much more beautiful Hilary looked up close, replied, "It will only be for 2 months. We need to go to some social events together." The next day, she went to Christopher's office to sign the papers and receive part of the payment. The rest would be handed over when the contract ended. That week, Hilary spent learning a few rules of etiquette, taking care of her appearance in beauty salons and shopping. "I have to be careful not to get used to this madam life," she thought, as she left the mall with several bags full of beautiful dresses. Everything was ready for the first night that Christopher would be seen with her by all her acquaintances, and above all by Sarah, her ex. It was dinner at a business partner's house, and Christopher was nervous about meeting Sarah again. When he saw Hilary looking elegant, like a true lady of high society, he couldn't hide his admiration. "You look stunning, much more than I imagined. Tonight is going to be incredible." I can't wait to see Sarah's reaction when she realizes I'm with such a beautiful and interesting woman. Hilary smiled when she heard what Christopher said. She felt truly beautiful, aware of how her elegant clothes, flawless makeup and jewelry enhanced her attributes. As they entered, all eyes immediately turned to them. Without realizing it, everyone also looked at Sarah, curious to see her reaction. Sarah looked at the couple with contempt and said to her friend next to her, "Look at the woman with Christopher. Ridiculous, isn't she, Chloe?" Chloe looked at Hilary and replied, "Look, I don't think so, Sarah. On the contrary. She's beautiful. I think you're a bit jealous, aren't you?" She finished speaking and laughed. Candida was really annoyed that Christopher had brought another woman to the event where they had many acquaintances in common. In truth, my friends, she was sorry to have exchanged a rich, elegant and kind man for another who turned out to be rude and dishonest. Even so, she believed that she could get back together with Christopher, knowing that he was still very much in love with her. After introducing Hilary to everyone and receiving many compliments on having such a beautiful girlfriend, Christopher looked triumphantly at Sarah. He was happy to realize that his ex was very angry. He had lived with her for many years and knew her well. He knew she was consumed with jealousy. He felt that his idea of hiring a girlfriend was working perfectly. Finally, Christopher tasted the sweetness of revenge. Sarah, furious at the praise everyone was giving Hilary, left the party, very angry. After Hilary had finished her role at the reception, Christopher was so happy that he invited her to celebrate alone in a special place. Hilary was happy for him and accepted the invitation. After the excitement of Hilary's performance at the party wore off, Christopher was able to take a closer look at the beauty of the woman in front of him. She really is beautiful. Her calm, peaceful gaze conveys a purity I've never seen in anyone else. She really is enchanting, Christopher thought. That night, when Hilary went to bed, she remembered the moments they had spent together. She was happy because Christopher felt good about showing his friends that he was with another woman. That night had restored his self-esteem, which made her happy. But, my dears, what they didn't expect was that his admiration for her and her joy at his success were turning into a deeper feeling. As they spent time together, a feeling that wasn't part of the agreement began to emerge between them: love. No role could determine or control that. Days turned into weeks and almost 2 months passed, while Christopher and Hilary continued to go to high society parties, their hands entwined in a dance of secrets and unfulfilled promises. But even though they tried to ignore the feelings that arose, love began to sneak into every gesture, every look they exchanged. Meanwhile, Sarah wasn't satisfied with losing Christopher to Hilary. She investigated Hilary's life and found out about the contract. Sarah, thinking that Christopher still had feelings for her, was pleased to see that he had hired a woman to play his girlfriend. One day she stormed into his office, looking seductive, saying, "As I understand it, my dear, you're still not over me, are you, since you hired that terrible woman to play your girlfriend?" Christopher, surprised by her unexpected entrance into his office, replied, "Yes. You're right. I hired Hilary to act as my girlfriend, so that everyone would think I wasn't suffering for everything you did to me. I thought I was suffering because you dumped me, but now I see that I'm not. In fact, I'm even thanking God for getting rid of someone like you," Christopher said with contempt. When Sarah saw the look on his face and heard his words, she turned and left the office immediately. My friends, in truth, in Christopher's hidden feelings, anger and revenge were replaced by something unexpected: redemption. The resentment he felt towards Sarah gradually disappeared, giving way to a deep understanding that true power lies in letting go of the past and embracing a future full of opportunities, however uncertain. On a starry night, under a sky full of promising stars, Christopher finally recognized the truth that was unfolding before him. He realized that he wasn't just acting out a feeling, but discovering true love in Hilary's embrace. When the last day of the agreement arrived, Hilary's heart was squeezed as she knew she would no longer be by the side of the man who had become her secret love. She dressed as if she were going to a very sad event, and every now and then, a few tears escaped, even without her permission. It was a difficult day for her. She walked into Christopher's office with her head down, and he was there, waiting. Seeing the sadness evident in her eyes, he said, "The dating contract is over, Hilary, but I have another proposal for you." She looked at him uncomprehendingly. He continued, "I'd like to propose a deal that isn't just a lie." Taking a ring out of a box, he said, "Will you date me for real?" This time she let her tears fall, but of happiness, answering, "Yes, Christopher, that's all I want most in life." And so, between the initial contract and the beating hearts, a genuine love story was born. The courtship soon turned into marriage, and they lived happily ever after, proving that true love always finds its way, even in the most difficult situations. If you liked this love story that transcended contracts and found its happy ending, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting content like this. And if you want to see more stories, check out our special playlist on the final screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.